Today I will present to you topics on IT application tools in business. The first part of this topic is all about the overview of information technology and its impact in the business enterprise. First, let me ask you these following questions. How aware are you about information technology? Now, when we talk of information technology, what comes to your mind? What is the impact of IT to you as a person? Why do we need to know more about information technology? Or why do you think information technology is important in the field of business? What do you think are the influences of IT in the business world and in the economy as well? Now, let me define to you information technology. According to Merriam-Webster.com, IT is the technology involving the development, maintenance, and use of computer systems, software, and networks for the processing and distribution of data. Take note, it's a technology that we use to develop, maintain, and use computer systems and software. Why? Because we need it in processing data in order for us to provide information. The second definition is from techopedia.com. Now, this definition talks more about a business sector, IT as a business sector, dealing with computing, like hardware, software, telecommunications, and generally anything involved in the transmittal of information or the systems that facilitate communication. And lastly, the third definition that I would like to share with you is from ACM and IEEE Computer Society. This is all about academic discipline, in which its concern is with issues related to advocating users and meeting their needs within an organizational and societal context. Why? Because for this, they will be able to select, create, apply, integrate, and administer many things. Now, to summarize it all, it's all about development, maintenance, and use of computer systems, software, and networks. It talks about the components of computer system, the hardware, the software, the telecommunications, the people using it, or we call it normally as peopleware, the processes or procedures, which all of these components should work together in order to provide better information. It's all about the transmittal of information. We know for a fact that information nowadays is one of the most important resources in the organization, particularly in the field of business. And so, it is very important, therefore, that information is properly transmitted. It's a system that facilitates communication. Yes, with the internet, with using email or even a messenger or even a Facebook for that matter, with IT, communication is facilitated well. It's lastly the concern with issues related to advocating for users and meeting their needs within an organizational context. Now, IT is all around us. It's everywhere in our society. Like, for example, in the field of education, the presence of computer-aided instructions to help teachers present their lesson, the presence of computer-aided examination to facilitate exams, the use of internet, learning management system, for example, during this time of pandemic, where many of the learning management system are being used to present the lesson or to have an online learning for that matter. We can make use of an information system or even a very ordinary Excel file for the computation of grades. And of course, the most common is the use of PowerPoint in presenting the lesson. In the field of medicine, for example, many of the gadgets or devices like X-ray, like CT scan, are now through the aid of information technology or information system. In government and law, for example, many of our government transactions are with the aid of information technology. In sports entertainment, well, watch NBA on YouTube. Or if you observe an NBA game, the commentator would give an accurate individual stats, updated individual stats of certain players. Why? Because they make use of information systems to properly provide the correct data or information. In science and technology, we know for a fact that IT is very well used in this field of endeavor. The Department of Science and Technology, for example, is trying to maximize the use of IT in all their activities, in all their endeavors. In agriculture and farming, well, nowadays, there is what we call Internet of Things, in which many of the farm in the first world countries would make use of certain systems that monitors the plants in the farm. And in banking and finance, the most popular, of course, is the use of automated teller machine or ATM for our bank transactions. And in manufacturing, many of the products that we use nowadays are through the aid of, were actually produced through the aid of computer-aided manufacturing. And of course, in the field of business, there are a lot of information systems being used. Like, for example, we have the accounting information system, the sales system or point of sale systems in many groceries, department stores, the use of inventory system, and many more. Now, what are the uses of information technology in business? First is it automates transactions and processes. Well, actually, the very purpose of why we have data processing systems then was to automate accounting works. We know for a fact that accounting is a very tedious work, and therefore they tried to create data processing system then to help accounting people in preparing the different financial statements. Well, of course, it's used for data storage. Whether we make use of physical storage, we use the secondary storage like the hard disk and many more. And we can now have the online data storage like the Google Drive. Okay, it facilitates communication, the sending of email, for example, in email to the customers, or sending documents to the stakeholders or stockholders. It's also a way to manage resources. If we have a very good inventory system, for example, in business, then we will be able to manage well resources within the organization. Nowadays, many of the businesses would allow their employees to work remotely. Even if they are at home, they can work with their paperwork, with their normal work in the office by trying to remotely access information from the system. It's also a way actually to capture more customers. Take a look, for example, if you have a grocery that uses a point of sale system compared to a grocery using a manual system, where would the customers go? I believe most of the customers would rather prefer going to the grocery with that point of sale system. We now have the cloud computing, collaboration among or within the organization. Many of nowadays outsource resources, especially manpower. And of course, businesses try to innovate more things through the use of information technology. Now, with all of these uses, what's the impact of IT in the field of business? First, it should increase productivity among individuals within the business environment. Second, it should reduce business costs. While it is true that information systems, or even hardware for that matter, are expensive, in the long run, it should reduce business costs because of the many things that are being removed. We can go paperless, for example, or now with that, it can also improve customer service. Like for example, in a grocery or in a department store, customer service done better. It widens customer prospect. It also improves communication processes within the organization. It provides better information management. It is all business processes can be streamlined. There will be many with manual, for example, where there are many steps to follow. With information technology, particularly having an information system, many of the business processes will be streamlined. Information will be more secured because it will be stored in an information system where there will be security features being implemented. And of course, there will be more and better production, especially in the field of manufacturing. And of course, there will be a secured data and information. These are just few impact of IT in the field of business. Now, to summarize it all, lastly, I would like to dwell with what are some of the information systems and applications in the field of business. We have accounting information system, we have point of sale systems in groceries and department stores. We can make use of office productivity tools like a word processing system, a spreadsheet software, a desktop publishing software. We now have the management information systems, decision support systems, executive information systems, or an enterprise resource planning, a supply chain management system, a payroll, and other information systems that we can utilize in order for information to better flow within the organization. Now, what is IT today? Especially in the field of business, we have what we call the e-commerce. We now have cloud computing. We talk about data management, wherein we manage big data, and therefore we need a data warehouse so that data mining would be possible. When we talk of data mining, we can, for example, we can figure out what is the performance of the organization in the last 5 years by data mining. And why do we need to data mine? So that we can provide better decisions for the company. Now we have MIS, DSS, EIS, BIS, ES. We have the Internet of Things. And we are now into Industry 4.0. And of course, the application of artificial intelligence in the field of business. And of course, more to come when we talk about IT. Thank you, and hope you learned something in this simple presentation.